So apparently there was a fire at the EFW. So can you enlighten us on exactly what happened with respect to that?
Through the chair. It was approximately 11:30 yesterday morning. We got a call regarding some type of a fire on their roof. Trucks responded, as I did, and what was visible, we had some kind of a fire on the roof. Crews were deployed, got up on the roof, and found that the rubber kind of membrane around one of the stacks over, I'll call it Unit 2 or Furnace 2, or that system, had caught the membrane on fire. Crews worked to cut it all back and put it out, and that was about the end of it. There was really no damage below the roof membrane. It was all contained on top of the roof.
Through the chair, was there anything cut, like a hole cut in the roof of any sort, or not?
Through the chair, well, it's hard to explain, but there was 2 stacks that come through the roof, which would have been had some kind of protection around that membrane, and somehow that it came in contact with the membrane. We're not sure how, whether a stack may have shifted. That's all being looked at as we speak.
So through the chair, did you have to use the aerial truck to get up on the roof, or is that?
Through the chair, we had both our aerials there. Our aerials would not reach the roof. It's just about 12 stories, 11 stories plus. Our aerials are about 105 feet, but if council so wishes and would like to buy us a 150-footer, we would certainly be receptive. But no, we really didn't need to use the aerials. What we thought was, if depending on the magnitude of the fire, we might lob water up, and we could have done that with the aerial. We were close to getting to the top.
So through the chair, so did any firefighter have to actually go on the roof or not?
Through the chair, yes. We probably had about 8 or 10 on the roof.
So did they get through the chair? Did they get to the roof from like the inside or something, or how did they actually get to the roof? Yes,
they had to carry their equipment in and go up 11 flights or 11 roughly stories of stairways to get to the roof.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Trail.
Thank you. I have a few more questions for the chief. So, do you have an idea of what caused this fire? I know you said that the rubber membrane on one of the stacks caught fire, but do you have an idea exactly what caused that to happen?
Through the chair, no.
Okay, and is there an investigation being taking place to find out what caused it?
Through the chair, yes. I believe both the region and Covanta, and I believe their insurance people were there today to investigate what would have caused that. As I said earlier, it may have been one of those stacks, may have shifted, just close enough. It's much like any type of, your stovepipe going through a roof where you've got ventilation, you've got an airspace, and that space that's protected, that radiant heat shouldn't bother it. So possibly something moved just with the damage that we saw, and with putting it out, we couldn't ascertain that, but it is being looked into.
And is the Ontario Fire Marshal looking into this at all?
Through the chair, no, they are not, but they were made aware.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure who would answer this, but who actually pays for any damage to the facility from this fire? You mentioned that the insurance company was on site, or would Covanta be paying, or would we be asked to pay as co-owners?
Through the chair, that's something I guess you'd have to speak to Covanta and the region. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure of the extent of the dollar figure of it. It was roof membrane, and it can be replaced. We didn't damage the roof.
So, through the chair, I'd like to know, perhaps our solicitor can answer, in the interim, while this facility is shut down, who's going to shoulder the burden for the cost of waste deliveries? Because they're going to have to be diverted, obviously, since the incinerator is not working right now.
I can maybe answer that for the solicitor. It's my understanding there was a release that went out today. The Unit 1, or the other side, is back up and running, and it is burning waste. So they are not shut down. The only side that shuts down is that Unit 2 while they investigate to try and figure out what malfunctioned.
Okay, and then through the chair, the whole facility was shut down, though, for a period of time from 11:30 to 4:30 p.m., is that correct?
Through the chair, it's best you probably clarify with them, but I understand they were going through a bit of an outage, which was a scheduled outage with Hydro One. They had the plant, they called it sort of like safe mode, while they were taken off the grid, while new lines could be altered and then reconnected. So the plant itself was generating its own power, and it was during that process when something failed, and they're not sure with this stack.
Okay, and then also just as a confirmation, the firefighters, this is their second attendance at the incinerator, that's correct?
Through the chair, yes, correct. Several weeks, or probably a month and a half ago, we had some garbage that was in the pit that had caught fire, but that's not unusual. We've had garbage trucks throughout the years advise us that their load had caught fire while they were going down the road.
Okay, and just to confirm, though, Covanta isn't paying for the Clarington firefighters for all their time they've spent showing up at these fires?
Through the chair, no, it would be like nor would any other business or resident in Clarington. It's just that's the service we provide.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hooper.
Yes, thank you. And since Councillor Trail asked the questions, begs to ask the other question. There is no further, like you've talked about, I don't know if you said 2 or 3 or whatever it was, the number, I can't remember. Would there be any danger of the other ones? Is it a flaw in the material that's being used? Or I guess that won't be determined until the investigation is complete. But, I just wonder if they can...
Through the chair, I don't believe so, but like I say, it is being investigated. We did look at the other to see if there was any kind of heat signature or anything that was maybe faulty. Nothing appeared evident, and they were going to go through all their safety checks and before they started it up. And it's my understanding as of, I think it was 7 or 7:30 last night, things were started back up.
Okay, thank you.
So you'd like them to keep the fire on the right side of the wall, Councillor Hooper? Yeah? Anything further? Mr. Canella, Mr. Allison, the water issue has been brought up a few times. We have mentioned, as have the two of you, some discomfort with the region's policy. I think there are some maybe some changes a ways back, and I think around this table here we've it seems difficult. Are we looking further into that? Is there something we should be doing as a council? Should the regional councillors be pursuing anything at this point in time?
I'll take a first shot at that. The region's policy used to refer to covering situations that were development related, and then unbeknownst to several people in the room, myself included, the policy was changed to basically say that their policy, which is funded through development charges, would compensate people where you had a well interference associated with the installation of regional infrastructure as opposed to development per se. And that was discomforting, for lack of a better word, when we discovered that. Frankly, we don't at the local level, this isn't unique to Clarington, this is throughout Durham region, have the resources to deal with well interference issues. That is either a provincial and or regional responsibility. And as I said, they do collect monies through their DC to cover this issue. So when we've approached them to say we think the policy might apply and requested their assistance, the first response now typically is, well, if it's not related to the installation of regional infrastructure, it's not our problem. And then they will work with us, but inevitably they'll say we can't establish that the cause of this particular interference is development at large, let alone regional infrastructure. And so we're left with the complaints from the residents at the local level that I know everybody in the room gets, and they frankly don't care. They don't care whether it's related to the regional infrastructure or any other infrastructure. The fact is that pre-development, they didn't have a problem, and post-development, they had a problem. And so I don't envy Mr. Canella trying to have these discussions, trying to determine, through the debates and discussions amongst the hydrogeologists, what the cause is and whether, in fact, you can attribute somebody's well going dry to construction or development in the area. But I think to answer your question directly, the fact, on a personal note, it concerns me that the region collects money for well interference, but they limit its application. And frankly, it's very difficult to conceive of too many scenarios where they actually are wanting to see the policy apply. That's my general feel. I'll let Mr. Canella add to that.
I think our solicitors encapsulated everything in a pretty concise manner. It has been a problem, and it's something that, while we had all the construction going on this year, we didn't think the timing would be appropriate to try to just deal with this. But now, during sort of the off season from a construction point of view, it would be timely to have some dialogue with the region, and it would probably be my thought that this might be the right type of thing that comes through our regional representation, because all municipalities are subjected to the same type of interpretation, if you will, or standard. So we're not any different.
Okay, so can Councillors Wu, Neil, and myself expect some sort of dialogue with you guys, from you guys, in terms of bringing this up at the region? And we may want to consider if it makes sense to pass a local motion and distribute it to the area municipalities. We'll figure the politics of it out, but
Sure.
we'll hear back.
I think Mr. Canella and I can work on something, and I think the idea of a resolution from the local council to say the region, we'd like you to consider revising your policy such as clear it does apply to development per se, as opposed to the installation of regional services. But candidly, I'm not. It needs more. In the real world, it needs more because it's not working in the field, and so I want to put some thoughts together to see what that resolution could say, together with Mr. Canella, to see what we could actually put in place that provides a meaningful remedy to the residents.
Perfect. Gentlemen, thank you. So, Councillor Hooper, I got you all excited a little while ago about a confirming bylaw, and then